Today, scalpers are finally getting what they deserve. Great news for Ryzen 7000, Nvidia's new GPU is terrible, and AMD's RX 7000 has way more cores than you think. Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. First up for today, scalpers have always been a major annoyance, buying up new products with the hope of reselling them to consumers who don't want to wait for new stock. But over the last couple of years, with the shutdowns and subsequent shortages, scalpers have become a bane on society. It would be bad enough if they just beat you to a website and typed in their info faster, but they actually buy bots, called sneaker bots, because that's where they were used most. And they use these to purchase everything before you have a chance to hit F5. They can justify the price because for them, it's basically an investment. And that's why stories like this bring with it a bit of joy. See, scalping doesn't come without risk. You have to know the item will sell out, hope people are willing to pay a premium for it, and offload them before they're restocked. Unfortunately for them, this was not the case for Nvidia's newest RTX 4080, and because of that, we have this story by Video Cards, where scalpers are having a tough time selling their new GPUs. In fact, one of them, who purchased 6 4080s, is trying to offload them for MSRP, threatening to return them in the next 5 days. Of course, why wouldn't he just return them if he's going to sell it at MSRP? Well, for one, there can be restocking fees, and second, he may not be able to, as Moore's Law is Dead recently spotted that some retailers aren't offering refunds. Basically, a bunch of scalpers could be left holding the bag. All I can say is please don't buy from them. Even if you have to pay a bit more at a retailer, it's worth it to know you're getting a warranty and that it won't go to a scalper. But first, for those looking to find the perfect gift this holiday season, I've got the perfect one. It can't be lost, go out of style, or anything like that. I'm talking about the gift of knowledge, brought to you by this video's sponsor, Brilliant, the place I recommend for learning computers. Actually, they're amazing for any STEM field because they were built to teach just that. The best part though is that you learn the right way, which is by doing it yourself. So instead of just memorizing facts, you go through and solve puzzles to learn the actual concepts themselves. And it's really visual, so you're seeing how things are changed when you play around with it. I really can't recommend them enough. And here's the thing, if you're not sure whether they're right for you or not, you can actually try it out for free today when you visit brilliant.org/gamermelt. Plus, the first 200 of you who visit the link will get 20% off the annual premium. And it's seriously the perfect gift. So check out brilliant.org/gamermelt today. Next up for today, I have some great news for anyone hoping to buy a new Ryzen 7000 CPU. For starters, it looks like AMD's new low pricing on their updated CPUs that we saw on Black Friday could be permanent. Originally, AMD claimed that those prices were for the week of Black Friday and that they were limited in time, which was a bummer because AMD very much needed lower prices, given Intel's 13th gen chips were so well received. And with the AM5 platform being so expensive, it was tough to justify a Ryzen 7000 purchase. But with these lower prices, things definitely felt better. Well, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are long over, and yet AMD's Ryzen 7000 parts are still at that low price. Now, it could just be the sales leading up to Christmas, but here's the thing, AMD has also released an updated packaging. As you can see, the boxes now have much more pronounced lines. Of course, this isn't a big change, but it's clearly intentional, so this very much could mark a permanent change. And of course, I'll have a couple affiliate links down in the description below if you're interested in picking one up. It won't cost you anything more, and it helps the channel out. Next up, do you remember when I mocked Nvidia for unlaunching the 12GB 4080 because, quote, having 2 GPUs with the 4080 designation is confusing, especially when right after that they announced a second 3060 with 8GB. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, not to mention past GPUs that did the exact same thing. Well, it looks like confusion could be exactly what Nvidia wants. In a new video from Hardware Unboxed, they tested the new RTX 3060 with 8GB of VRAM, and it's bad. Like really bad. As you can see from these gaming tests, the 8GB model is significantly worse than the 12GB model. In fact, it should clearly have been given a different name. I'd go as far as to say it's almost a lie to call it a 3060. We're talking the 8GB model loses as much as 26% performance. Sure, on average it's more like 17% slower, but get this, Nvidia hasn't changed the MSRP for this card. You can see it still says that it starts at $329, and when when we look at parts on backorder and the one model out right now, the pricing is pretty much just as high as the 12GB 3060. What's even worse is that if you saw the card on a shelf or something, the side just says RTX 3060. Most people likely haven't even heard of the 8GB model. I know those of you who watch my channel do, but the average person probably doesn't. And if they bought this thinking they were getting, say, a good deal on a 3060 if the price goes down, they quickly realize how wrong they were. It's almost like Nvidia simply got caught with the 12GB 4080, so they were forced to change it, but clearly that didn't stop them from doing it more in the future. And lastly for today, AMD's RX 7000 series is way better than you think. In a recent story, I discussed a submission by AMD to their open source ROCm repository. In it, we got specs for their Navi 32 GPU, which would be their RX 7800 XT. Not only that, but Navi 33 was also mentioned, but I'll get to that in a second. The big thing today comes from a discussion of those cores. According to the leak, their Navi 32 part comes with 60 CUs or compute units, which doesn't sound like much, especially given the 6800 XT that it would be replacing has 72. But there's something I don't think many people know. In RDNA 3, AMD now uses dual issue stream processors, or 2 instructions per cycle, both of which can run floating point or integer calculations. So theoretically, it has 128 or double the shaders per compute unit. But because those ALUs share the same resources that they did with only 64 shaders, you won't see a doubling of performance. This is similar to what Nvidia did with their Ampere architecture. It's how they got so many more cores, yet the performance didn't perfectly scale like it has in the past. So it looks like RDNA 3 doesn't have that many cores, but it's way better than it looks. Tom's Hardware actually asked AMD's chief GPU architect Mike Bantor about this, and even according to him, RDNA 3 technically has double the cores or shader units per CU as they did with RDNA 2. Now he did say that in some ways it doesn't, but that's likely because you won't get double the performance since the resources are shared by the same CU that was only using 64 shaders per compute unit, but it's still going to be way faster per CU. So even when we look at Navi 33's seemingly terrible 32 compute units, it's actually not bad. Basically, AMD's next-gen GPUs are a lot faster than you think. So while that does it for today, does that clear up some things about AMD's RDNA 3? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to try out Brilliant for free at brilliant.org/gamermelt. And as always, have a great day.